pleasure to be here. I'm Kevon Wilson from Tourism Intelligence International. Basically, we are a travel and tourism consultancy serving destinations, governments, private sector individuals all over the world. We have worked in countries such as South Africa, developing their responsible tourism strategy. We have worked in destinations such as Abu Dhabi. The challenge that they had was everybody knows about Dubai. Dubai being one of the more popular destinations within the United Arab Emirates, but Abu Dhabi is the capital of the Emirates, and very few people knew and understood about Abu Dhabi. So what we helped them to do is to develop a strategy, and we told them, stay different. Do not try to compete directly with Dubai. Do not try to be another Dubai, but to focus on your culture, on your heritage, on what makes you unique and special. And so we developed what we call the Stay Different strategy for Abu Dhabi. We've also worked in the Bahamas, helping them re-engineer their tourism product. And the challenge that the Bahamas had in the early 2000s was that they started suffering from what we call tourism fatigue. People were tired of smiling. They were tired of serving guests. They saw it almost as a sense of servitude rather than service. And we developed a tourism and awareness campaign for them that was a little bit different. It was about education through experience. So we developed a pool of opportunities where we got the private sector to contribute opportunities, 20,000 opportunities for 5,000 employees in the sector. And so we said, okay, good, you're a hotelier. There are certain times of the year where you have downtime. So why not use those rooms, those empty rooms, which if a night goes by and nobody uses it, it's lost. Use those rooms to educate the people in the sector. Because you have barmen, you have teachers, you have policemen, immigration officers, and so on, who've never stayed at a high-end hotel, who's never eaten in a fine dining restaurant. So we were able, or who never visited some of the tourist attractions or the nature trails and so on. So we developed a pool of 20,000 opportunities for these 5,000 individuals in the tourism sector to truly experience their destination. And because of that, they had a reason to smile. They were smiling not because they were paid to smile. They were smiling because they had a reason to smile. They felt proud about their destination. They felt proud to be Bahamian. They felt proud to be working in the tourism sector. And that's the kind of level that we need to go. So let's Barbados. One of the other examples we had working in the German market. Barbados noticed that they were losing visitors from Germany. And when we did our research, we realized that the Germans saw the Caribbean as one broad-based destination. They're coming for sun, sand, and sea, and other S's. And they didn't understand why they should be paying more for Barbados compared to the Dominican Republic or Cancun or Puerto Rico. So they saw the Caribbean, or they saw Barbados as a Volkswagen. They wanted cheap, low airfare, low accommodation, that kind of thing. Next slide, please. But what we realized, and we had to create a strategy to show them that Barbados is not a Volkswagen, but a Mercedes-Benz, right? For example, in the Dominican Republic or in Mexico, you can't drink water out of the tap, but you can do that in Barbados. At 2 o'clock in the morning, you can't walk in the streets in Santo Domingo, but you can do that in Barbados. So they had to understand why they had to pay more for Barbados. Well, I was very pleased with the common theme that we've been hearing so far today. And I was very pleased when Dr. London spoke about progressive people and focusing on the people of Tobago. And that is the main point I want to get across from my presentation today, that you cannot brand Tobago without the people of Tobago. So let's put branding in perspective. So there's a paradigm shift taking place in tourism and the travel industry. It's a radical change in thinking. And we see that some players are winning and some are dying. There are a lot of tour operators and travel agencies that went out of business when the internet came along. So you have to be up and running with the game. So it's not business as usual. And where branding Tobago is concerned, we cannot continue with the same old strategies. We require new strategy. So unless we change, unless we adapt, we are not going to go anywhere. So we see that, what is this paradigm shift? The shift is that mass tourism is no longer the best practice. And we have to be very proud of the fact where we're going clean, green, safe, and serene, which is away from the whole mass tourism focus. So that is a step in the right direction. And just very quickly, we saw that Henry Ford, we all know him for mass production of cars. And the father of mass tourism is Thomas Cook. And you've all heard of Thomas Cook, one of the top tour operators. So let's compare mass production of cars and mass tourism. We saw that in mass production, you had set products. In mass tourism, you had rigidly packaged holidays. In other words, the days ago, when you bought a package holiday, if you wanted to change it, that's it. You had to buy a completely new package. If you want to stay one day longer, you have to buy a new package. Now that's totally changed. In mass production, the prices were fixed. And under mass tourism, we had inflexible price options. The focus was on economies of scale. The suppliers were in control. And the consumers simply took the price. So this is the mass factory of Ford, and Ford, you could get any car you wanted from Ford as long as it was black. These are the mass tourism destinations, or the factories of tourism, the high-rise hotel, the overpopulated beaches, and that is the kind of practice that happened in the past. That is the kind of tourism that we do not want in Tobago. Am I right? Right. So old tourism was mass standardized, rigidly packaged, and was affordable. I don't know if that had anything to do with Ford. But these were the old tourists. They simply went on a holiday, they took pictures, and they got a suntan simply to prove to their neighbors that they went on a holiday. It was all about showing off. But change is ahead. So we see that there are fundamental shifts taking place in each of the elements that created mass tourism. So we see that in the new tourism paradigm, travelers, they are in the driving seat. They are in control. We see that technology is facilitating the changes that are taking place. The environment is limiting the kind and the direction of growth that is taking place, because, quite frankly, if you destroy the environment, you have no tourism to sell. We see that locals are becoming more demanding, more knowledgeable, and they are saying enough is enough. And because of that, we see destinations becoming more and more caring. So in terms of branding any destination, and Tobago is no exception, we see that travelers are in control. They are sophisticated, they are knowledgeable, they are demanded, they are connected. So if, and I'm going to state this quite frankly, if the developers of the CEDP believe that they are in control of the brand, or if you believe that some hotshot marketer in a fancy office is in control of the brand of Tobago, think again. Just looking at some of the shifts that are taking place on the consumer side. These are executives from the banking sector in New York. They're having the holiday of a lifetime. They paid premium dollar to be tied up and blindfolded and left in the swamp for a couple hours to de-stress. Now, if you look at this holiday experience, the grass skirts, the blindfold, the mangrove tree, it costs little. But what they're paying for is the experience, not the product. We see that the old tourists took pictures. The new tourists want to be in the photograph. They want to do what locals do. They want to eat where locals eat. They want to participate in local activities. They're going out of their way. This is an example of a British guy who is surfing in Hawaii in the mouth of a volcano. He burnt his feet because of this experience, but he has something to tell his grandchildren. We also see that locals are becoming more demanding, more sophisticated, more knowledgeable, more connected as well. This is an example of the Greenpeace dropping a dead whale in front of the Japanese embassy in Berlin. They are saying enough is enough, stop the whaling. Amnesty International, we know about the Million Man March that took place last month in the United States. So locals are becoming more aware, more demanding. So the point I want to make, if this clicker will cooperate, is that travelers and locals want the same things. There's a coincidence of wants between the two. So what are the implications for branding Tobago? And there are key questions that we need to ask before we come to that. First of all, what are we selling? Secondly, what do we want to sell in the future? See ourselves 30, 40, 50 years from now. What do we want to sell? To whom are we selling? And are we selling what they want? And of course, who is in control of the brand message? So we see, it's a bit blotchy there, but anyhow, we see that locals and visitors work together to develop the brand, not the hotshot marketer. And I'll tell you why. So locals, they live the brand, and the visitors experience the brand. What I mean by that? So a visitor comes to Tobago, they meet the immigration officer, the customs officer, the taxi driver, they may interact with the cashier at the grocery, the front desk clerk. They are interacting with Tobagonians. And like the example Dr. London gave earlier, if they are saying something contrary to what you want to portray as Tobago, then that is the brand the travelers are going to experience. And I'll give you an example. There were some German visitors who happened to be walking on the beach and they saw some fishermen. I believe it was Plymouth, but I'm not 100% sure. And they saw these fishermen pulling in their seines, and they started taking pictures. And the fishermen said, don't take no so-and-so pictures of us. We are not tourist attractions. Right? So that is the experience that the visitors got. Now, that's the brand that they're experiencing. So you can have glossy ads, fancy logos, catchy and sexy slogans, but what they experience, the Tobagonian experience, that is the brand. So, in other words, in order to really and truly control your brand, you have to educate, communicate, create awareness among the people of Tobago, because they are the ones that are living the brand. They are the ones who are keeping or breaking the brand promise. So if your brand promise is clean, green, safe, and serene, and Tobagonians are breaking that promise, then that is the brand message that the visitors will experience, and that's the perception that they will get. So your locals are the ones who are conveying the brand message, and visitors are the ones who are going to share that message. So they go back home and they speak to their family and friends, and they post it on Facebook and so forth. So old branding and new branding, because of this paradigm shift, because travelers are more in control, because the locals are more vociferous, we see that old branding was controlled by the supplier. They put up a nice ad and a nice logo, and they were in control of it. But now it's controlled by the consumer. It was all about selling, but now it's about enrolling. And this is why you see all of those membership cards are becoming so popular, because it's enrolling people in a club. They want to feel a sense of belonging. It's not just about advertising, but it's exciting and engaging people. It's not just about conveying information. You could say, oh, Tobago is nice, has beaches, but it's really about sparking an imagination. Oh, I wonder what I could do when I get there, boy. Oh, I could see myself doing that. Yes, that looked like a nice idea. That is the kind you have to spark imagination. And it's not just about communicating. It's about conversing. And when you start a conversation, what happens? You begin a relationship. And that is where branding needs to be heading. So we all know this pyramid. This is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And we see that the travelers are moving up that hierarchy. No longer is it about the basic needs, safety and all of that. It's more about self-actualization, a sense of belonging, status, and feeling part of something. If you take a typical ad, or a silly ad I should say, if a hotel puts up a nice building and they say, well, come to our hotel, we have beds. What you're going to say? That's expected. You know, our rooms are clean. That's expected, right? What else can you offer me to make a choice between this hotel or that hotel? So we need to start, in terms of branding Tobago, we need to start moving up the hierarchy. And it doesn't matter what you say. If you say clean, you could use that and you could appeal to the higher senses. Okay, come visit us. This is why volunteerism is on the rise. People are volunteering and cleaning up beaches and helping schools and all of that. It's about clean, it's about the environment, but we are appealing to their higher needs, about self-actualization, about feeling part of something, that they're contributing to something, that they're making a difference. So we see that brands that move up the hierarchy are going to be more successful. And just an example, Sprite. They are appealing to the lower end of the hierarchy, obey your thirst. But Coca-Cola is at the higher end, open happiness. Or you see your own name on the brand, so you become the brand, right? So they are appealing to the higher end. So the question is, where is Tobago in this hierarchy? Are we at the bottom of the pyramid, or are we at the top of the pyramid? And believe you me, the people at the top are the ones who are spending more. Those executives that were tied up, for example, they are spending more because they are at the top of the pyramid. So this is why I've always said, and I will continue to say it, Tobago cannot continue to compete on sun, sand, and sea alone. This beach, where is this beach? Do you know, you can tell me which country this beach is in? Anybody? Is it in Barbados? Is it in Grenada? Is it in Antigua? Is it in Cancun? This is in Pigeon Point. But the point I'm trying to make is, seeing a beach is not the brand. It doesn't tell you who you are. Your brand is your DNA, it's your identity. This does not say who you are. So you need to move beyond sun, sand, and sea to creating exceptional experiences. And so we see that we are in the experience economy now. I mean, in the industrial age, it is all about extraction and production. And then we move to a service economy. But now it's all about experiences. And this is where people start spending more. They're spending more because the experience is greater and more enjoyable and more memorable. So in order to really and truly brand Tobago, you need to start creating exceptional and memorable experiences. And who is going to do that? Not the hotelier, the manager sitting in his room. No offense, Dr. London. Dr. London is not going to create that experience. It is the Tobagonians, the taxi driver, the fisherman, the vendor. They are the ones creating that experience. So a successful destination is where people smile, not because they are paid to smile, but because they have a reason to smile. And so branding, and I want you to distinguish between branding and marketing. Branding is your DNA, it's your identity, it's who you are. Marketing is how you communicate that message, right? And now we see that not only are the locals and the travelers playing a part, we see technology playing a critical role as well. All people have to do is search for you, and if you do a search on Google, if you have internet access now, you will see almost 500,000 search terms come up for Tobago. 500,000 almost. So people are looking for you. This is the evidence, right? I forgot I put that slide there. Social media, from YouTube to Facebook to Twitter, you name it. People are posting, they're blogging, digging, pinning, tumbling, recording, streaming, sharing, tweeting, liking about Tobago. And that is where your brand begins to develop. And I mean, look at mobile phones. There are more mobile phones in the world than landlines. China is a perfect example. Almost 1 billion people with mobile phones. So they're taking pictures when they go on holiday and they're sharing it with their friends. They're pinning it on Pinterest, putting it on Tumblr. So if you're not online, you're not on sale. And being online is not just having a website. You have to really and truly use it as a tool to communicate and to develop a relationship with your visitors and potential visitors. Typical example, nobody travels today without going on TripAdvisor to find out the hotel they're going to stay by. Is it worth going there? Typical example, 23,000 people are speaking about Tobago. This is just one site, TripAdvisor. 23,000 people are speaking about their experiences in Tobago. When people read their reviews and their opinions, they form their own opinion about your brand. Regardless of what you're saying. You can say clean, green, safe, and serene 1,000,000 times. But it's what the customers are saying, the travelers are saying. That is the brand that they're going to believe in. This is just an example of one hotel and the rates and reviews that they were getting. So you have to develop your people, you have to develop your products, and very importantly, the people is the most important part of your product, right? And nothing kills a bad product like good marketing. Carol Guntley said that from the Jamaica Tourism Board. What does that mean? Unless you develop your product, unless you educate your people, unless you get them to live the brand, to keep the brand promise, to buy into the brand message, and you could spend millions and millions in marketing. When people come here and they experience something that they don't want to experience, you're going to kill your product. So nothing kills a bad product like good marketing. Just to give you some quick examples of some brands, amazing Thailand, incredible India. So they're appealing to a sense of emotion. Wonderful Indonesia, I love New York, keep exploring. The Caribbean you're looking for, follow your heart. Colombia, the only risk is wanting to stay. Everybody think Colombia is unsafe. And they say the only risk is wanting to stay. Hedonism, be wicked for a week. You know, give us your body for a week and we'll give you back your soul and your mind. Adapting your brand to the needs of your markets. Halal KFC, right? Maharaja Mac, right? Just do it, right? And I just want to leave you with this last point. So we see some arrivals. These are just international arrivals by air to Tobago compared to Grenada. We see in 2005, Tobago was at its highest point when Grenada was at its lowest point. What do you think happened in 2005? Hurricane Ivan, right. So a lot of people, I presume, probably came over to Tobago as their secondary choice. The question is, after Grenada redeveloped their tourism product, they have a spanking new tourism plant. The people who came here, why didn't come back? Or why didn't they tell their friends to come back? Just a question to think about. What is missing from that link, right? And I believe, I could be wrong, we have to start with our people. We have to start getting them to realize that tourism is their business. So very quickly, last slide. So you need to build your brand from the ground up. You have to get Tobagonians to live the brand. You need to move up the hierarchy of needs and offer authentic and exceptional experiences. And you need to move beyond destination branding to place branding. What do I mean by that? It's not just a nice place to visit, but it has to be an incredible place to live, a wonderful place to work, a fantastic place to set up business and to invest. All of those things have to be covered when you're considering branding. So I'm very pleased with these points because these strategic initiatives focus on place branding and not just destination branding. Thank you very much.